Hey guys, and welcome back to the garage here tonight. So about 6 years ago, I traded my 2013 Honda CBR 600RR that I bought brand new for this 2015 Honda Shadow Phantom 750. At that time, wife and I were wanting to have kids, wanted to ride a little more responsibly, so I made the very lame decision to trade that bike in for this here. Before I took delivery of it, I ordered a Cobra long shot exhaust, Cobra intake, Cobra fuel management system, saddlebags, signals front and back, different mirrors, sound system. Basically decked this thing out as much as I could at the time. Had a lot of fun on the bike. Have about 10,000 kilometers on the bike now. Most of that was in the first couple of years, but I haven't been riding the bike very much in the last few years since having kids. Eventually I put the stock exhaust and intake back on just to make it a little easier in the ears and to save from ticking off the neighbors around here. But doing that, the bike rides like a scooter. Just it doesn't feel as quick. Not that it was fast, but it feels a lot slower. And it sounds like a scooter, a vacuum. So last year I picked up the Triumph Daytona back there. Much more fun, actually much more comfortable for both the wife and I. So I'm at the point now I'm ready to move on, get rid of this, offload it, and maybe buy something else. But before doing that, I want to do some comparisons of the stock exhaust, stock intake, and swap it out for the Cobra long shots intake back there. Set the fuel settings where they were at and see what kind of performance improvements we can get from stock to those there. Not sure you will see much, but I know it tells me that it's definitely slower with the stock muffler and intake. So we'll see where we're at, see what kind of performance improvements we get that on, just for fun. Then this Friday here is Friday the 13th. Gonna ride down to Port Dover with some buddies, throw a for sale sign on the windshield, and get rid of it. Move on to something new. Stay tuned. Let's see what kind of numbers we get here. All right, so now that we got some numbers of the bike in stock form with the stock exhaust, stock intake, the fuel controller set to the factory settings, we're gonna swap on the Cobra long shots and the Cobra intake, adjust the fuel controller to compensate for those, do an oil change, and get back out there and see what kind of performance improvements we get with those on. one little extra task I'm doing here is I'm going to do the timing mod by taking off the magnetic pickup here. First measuring the gap, which I've done already. Hard to read there, but 30 thousandths. Slides in there nice and snug. Pull that off. And that there is held stationary with those bossed openings, fit snug into those holes. We're going to grind those off, which will allow some movement this way or that way, and we're going to get that advanced and then re-gap that, tighten the bolts down, put the cover on, seal it up, back together, and see how that helps. And looking back at tutorials from guys who've done this in the past, I need to elongate the holes slightly to the right to allow this to rotate counterclockwise a little more for a couple more degrees of advanced timing. Let's get the fuel controller dialed in here. Still at 000 from the stock exhaust and intake. We'll get dialed in for the Cobra intake and exhaust. Recommended settings from Cobra for those exhaust and intake are 2, 5, 2. That's what I had before. Just based on a little reading, some people bump it up a little bit, so I'll go to 3, 6, 3. We'll see how it runs from there. If need to, I'll dial it back down, but I think that's still quite conservative. All right, let's hear how she runs. Well guys, that was a lot of fun, but unfortunately the disappointing truth here is that these modifications made zero improvement to the performance of this bike. And in fact, it's actually 0.4 seconds slower from 20 to 150 kilometers an hour. Bike sounds better, feels better, but reality is this bike's no quicker than it was in stock form. Thanks for watching guys, stay tuned for the next videos.
Fixing a motorcycle. They want to fix a motorcycle. They are building a motorcycle.